What's up, guys? It's John at National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into another team's path to the playoffs, as well as recap tonight. So obviously, we should have stuck with the intuition with the Jags. Again, it was a leg one, so I wasn't too crazy about it, but I still always get to stick with the intuition. But at least with this game and these games being spread apart, it gives us a lot of information. As I said, we know the Jets have to be in striking distance with the Dolphins on Week 18. So we know the Dolphins can't just win out and the Jets lose out, right? So it just really means there's a much better chance the Jets win in Seattle or the Dolphins lose against Green Bay here or in New England next week. So I wanted to go into the next team's path to the playoffs. And speaking of Miami, we already covered them. We have them getting in. Our second pick, we have the Jets not getting in, and we have the Jags getting in. We had the Jets winning the game, but our playoff picks are right now Jags do win the division, Jets don't get that wild card spot, and the Dolphins do. Now, they play the Packers here, and a lot of people are thinking Green Bay wins, goes on a run. They wouldn't eliminate them this early, etc. And people are going to be fading Miami after all those losses. But what I say is I don't think they're going to have the Dolphins go on this kind of losing streak because they have, I told you, this Tua narrative, I've been pretty on point with him. He's very good at home. And I think they want to push that he's good at home, not so good on the road. So I do think the Dolphins win this game. And the reason I think they win it is, again, I just don't think it's going to be that easy for Green Bay. But what I wanted to show was how Green Bay will still finish in the hunt, even with a Miami Dolphins win. Now, this Dolphins win will put them 2 games ahead of the Jets. Now, I'm going to be generous to the Packers, and basically all their competition I'm going to have lose, which in this case would be the Commanders, the Giants. The Lions doesn't matter, and I do think that they win. So that's why I'm having them win. The reason the Lions. The Lions doesn't matter because they're going to play the Packers in the final week. In this game, again, we have the Dolphins. Now, here's the one I think the Patriots actually win. I don't think the Dolphins, I think they're going to push, they're going to keep as many teams alive as they can. So by having the Patriots win this week, they beat the public, because everyone's going to assume they beat the Packers and or lose to the Packers and beat the Patriots. So I think it's going to be reversed. So looking at the other games, nothing looks crazy. And let's give one upset, for the Packers' behalf. Let's give one upset to the Browns could beat the Commanders, right? I don't see both happening. I don't see both those upsets. So we'll give them one, and we'll give them the Jets. So we're giving them 2 of 3 upsets, the Packers here. So we're giving the Packers quite a few upsets here, and Eagles, I think, win. We're having them beat the Vikings. So we're doing a lot of nice things for the Packers. Now we're in Week 18. And again, these are my overall picks. I'm doing each one individually. And then, of course, we're going to have all of our picks. But every one that each week, like each time I do a team, of course, I'm doing different picks. It's because based on that team, to play devil's advocate, just to show what it would take, I'm picking the most absurd of outcomes, just to see, like we did for the Jets. Like, even with if we gave them that win over the Jags, all that, they still weren't getting in. So anyway, in this case, we have the Raiders. We'll give them, the Chiefs will probably be resting people, and the NFC is what's really important because, again, it's about the Packers. We'll give them that win, and we'll go here. How's this look, right? Eagles, Cowboys. So we're giving the Commanders and the Giants both another loss, and I do think the Seahawks win. I got to be fair. And you can see when you do that, the Packers do get in as a 7th seed. Now, do I think that happens? No. I don't think they get in as a 7th seed. I do think the NFC beast gets in. But my point is, the Packers do not have to win this week against the Dolphins in order to be in the playoff hunt. And I think everyone's assuming that. So, they assumed it with a lot of teams. People have been assuming it for weeks. So, just like the Jets, Jags, the Packers do not need a win this week to be in the hunt, and I think they want the Dolphins to look good at home and then not good on the road. And that's just what makes sense to me. Now, again, I do understand that would put them 2 games ahead of the Jets, which makes them, the Dolphins I'm talking about, which means they would absolutely need to lose in New England. But that's been the rap with Miami all year, is how bad they are on the road. And that's the narrative that I've been saying that they're going to set up is Miami at home is just going to be better than the Jets. They're going to get it done at home. Oh, no problem, Marco. It's all right. Sometimes we go with our intuition. Sometimes, we overthink it. This time we overthought it. But yeah, so not to overthink this. This is how I think it happens. I think, the Packers don't get in. So that's my third official prediction. We have, by default, we do have 4 predictions because obviously since we have the Jags getting in, it would be mathematically impossible for the Titans to get in as a wild card. So, you can do it that way you will. But yeah, I do think that the Packers do get in as a wild card, and I think they do it without beating Miami this week. I think everyone's expecting them to win. They're going to lose. They're going to count the Packers out, and then I think they go on a run. And like I've been saying since it happened, I genuinely believe this draw is going to be the reason the Commanders hold, whereas you have a handful of teams, Packers, Lions, Seahawks, whoever, not getting in. I could be wrong. And the Giants is still up in the open too. I haven't really looked into them, but like I said, I do like the NFC Beast narrative. I think it makes sense. With the AFC, there's a lot more out there. The Dolphins, right, like I said, right now the only team that we locked on the AFC side, and the Jets not getting in, and then of course the Jags, just because I think they win the division. But yeah, let me know which one you want me to go into next. I just thought it'd be fun to do it this way because, again, we're just locking in another playoff future. I think the Packers do not get in the playoffs. I know it might not be a shocker, but a lot of people do have them getting in. And a couple people wanted me to cover the Packers. And you see how close they come. So I'm not saying they're going to do bad. I think they're going to be in at the last week of the season for a reason. Same thing with the Jets. I think the Jets and Packers basically suffer the same fate. Only the Packers is going to be by virtue of another team having a draw. But yeah, I think Tua gets back to his winning ways. On this one, I don't see an audible happening. I'm going to buy it down to 3. I think they were at 3.5 last I checked. But I will do a video on the official game, just to make sure everybody we have all the right picks. That's why I always put out an update one after these, just so in this case I happened to change my mind, which wasn't great, but I figured while we did the playoff videos, we can also go into narratives. You can see so many other teams: Lions, Panthers, Commanders, Niners. You can see so many other teams here with stakes. Cowboys, Eagles, not as many stakes because they've already given the Eagles the division. But so many teams here with stakes, Raiders, Steelers, they both a win away from possibly being one out of the wild card. So a lot of stakes, especially with the Jags win. That's kind of where my initial thought was. Now we have just more teams like the Browns that are still in it and still alive. But as far as the Packers, I do think they lose. I think the Dolphins win this week, and next week will be the surprise with the Patriots when they lose that game. And the good thing is, if I'm wrong, say the Dolphins do lose, I think it just helps us going forward because it just gives us more information. We know certain games have to be at a certain spot on Week 18. So yeah, nothing crazy, just the Packers' path to the playoffs. I'm curious how we do with all these. And my official pick is the Packers do not make the playoffs, but they finish with a record of 8-9 and very, very close. And they win 3 of the next 4. So, if you want to do a future bet or something like that, you can. But I just thought it would be cool to go over every team. And some are going to hit, I'm going to hit the entire NFC South at once in certain divisions. But I just thought it would be cool to hit some teams, some need to be hit on their own, I feel like. The Dolphins, one of them. and I feel like the Packers were as well. So yeah, let me know what you think, and if you want a certain team covered, I'd love to go into them next. Packers were the one a few people wanted me to go into, so that's why I wanted to cover them. And I've been just talking to people and explaining why I don't think they're quite going to do it, but I think they give them a nice little run. So just to recap, NBA looked like the one we missed by half a point, the first game, the Spurs, but it was only a leg one. And the Jets was only a leg one. We only had a couple open sequences, so that's great. And we got leg two of Louisville. We closed that. And we closed the other college game, Queens covering, just playing metrics. So basically a split day. And I feel very confident with some of these picks with the Raiders game. I feel confident with the Miami game. A lot of these games going forward for this coming week for leg twos, leg threes if we need them. So I'll have my regular pick video out, but I thought it'd be cool to go into the Packers-Dolphins game as well as, my opinion, the Packers' path to the playoffs. So, as I always say, take care and happy earnings.